All right, Mama. It's a nice, cool Friday morning. We got the pieces that we primed for the 57 Chevy truck. Got them out of the booth this morning, waiting for the sun to really dry and lock up that primer good so that when we sand, it don't fill up the sandpaper as bad. And so we'll try to get those blocked out and get ready for some paint next week. But in the meantime, the client that owns this Mustang dropped off what looks like an overwhelming amount of parts. So you've got your hood and trunk lid, you've got the two doors, and then you got your two bumpers. So where we're going to start at is on this back here, and put the those quarter panel extensions on and kind of get an idea of how everything fits. And so I hope y'all enjoy this video. This here is just, as far as I know right now, just a fitment. You know, we'll get this back end and the new trunk lid working right. We're gonna put the new doors on and make sure that they line up good. See how bad the gaps are out on the bottom and on the sides. And then we'll put our fenders on and the hood and hood hinges on. So this should be a relatively quick fix. The client, my understanding, we're gonna fit the pieces on and fix the welding part that he can't fix, and he's gonna do the body work unless something changes. You know how things change around here. So let's get these overwhelming parts on this Mustang. All right, Mama, for those of you that don't know, that's a quarter panel extension. Now it's still loose. All I've done was just snug it up with my fingers. But I wanted to get you in here and show you. There's a lot of people that don't know how these cars go together. So on the perimeter, down through here and across here is this gasket. It fits inside that groove right there, just like so. Take what's left of this one and let you see. Fits in there just like that. That's what seals, when it rains, that's what seals off right across there and keeps water from running inside your quarter panels. Because see, down inside, these new quarter panels has got the big open holes. But if you let trash and leaves and debris constantly run down, if it gets in down through here, it will make its way to there, clog up that hole, and then it will start rusting out along the bottom here in your inner wheel well. So here's that gasket installed. I like to take and make this piece a little longer. The reason why, if you push it and kind of scrunch it up, see how it's wanting to bow up, but if you scrunch it up a little bit, make it a little bit longer, then as the sun dries out, it will pull it tight. But if you cut it to be exact fit and then the sun dries it out, it will pull it back like that right there and leave a space. So cut it a little bit long and make sure that you can bunch it up whenever. I do the same way with my rubber, like on the Chevelle and stuff in the corners. I always back it up just a little bit, bunch it up. That way when the sun dries it out over the period of years, months, whatever it takes, it stretches it and it will be perfect then. All right, Mama. So we got the trunk quarter extensions put on. You can see that one there is It's going to need some slicing and dicing to make it look nice. Quarter panel needs to come out, so it'll have to be cut loose along here. And I'm thinking that this right in here can be hammered and dollied up to match the point of that. The other one don't look as bad. That right there is nothing compared to the other side. This one fits pretty good. So we'll put the new trunk lid on and kind of get an idea of how the gaps fit. The other day when we were at the client's house, the one that was on this one fit really bad. So I think we can make that work. Looks like the quarter panel is tight, or that gap right in there is right. But as it comes back to me, that needs to be straightened up. So I'm not so sure what's going on right in there. All right, Mama, we got the new trunk lid set on. That hinge needs to be raised up to get that corner up. And then this side, it needs to go down a little bit. You can see right there. The gap is not too awful bad. It gets bad right there. Look at how the line needs to come out to meet the face of that. But then over here, it's already out. So, and then that gap looks good. Still got to cut that loose and get that beat up to fit the roll. But over here, if we pull that trunk lid back so that it comes out with the face of that brown extension, then that's going to open up the gap back here. It'll be wide right there, and it's going to bring that corner into the quarter panel. So let me show you what I'm talking about. When I slide that back, I can make it fit right here, but then it's going to dig in right there, and it's going to create a wide gap back here. So I loosened up the bolts right there, and I slid it back like what I was talking about. Now you can see that we are flush across here where my thumb is at. It could come back just a little bit to be perfect, but you can see that my lines line up pretty good. But look at that gap. So that gap goes all the way. I would like to have that gap right here everywhere, which is probably 3/16 or so. But then you can see that it opens up all the way across. Well, when you move this side here, closes this side off. Now I'm still out. I can bend this in a little bit right there, but you can see that my gap is touching. Now my gap right through there, I could live with. So then I'm touching back across here. So something is out of square really bad. Just got to figure out which is the best. The Chevelle that we done a while back, the new trunk lid on it fit the same way. We had to cut and weld on 3 different sides of it to make it fit. And I braced up and took the quarter panels off one side at a time and put them back, and it's steel. So I'm not so sure what goes on with the aftermarket stuff from Taiwan, but it really puts us in a predicament. So let me show you a little something that I done. Those 2 bolts right there, they were loose or just snug. What I done while the trunk lid was down, I grabbed this corner and pulled it hard towards the driver's side. And what that does is that hinge looks straight, but it makes the trunk lid a little bit diagonal, I guess you could say, to the car. So that helps square it up a little bit. Now this side here, as you can see, it needs to come out, but look how it straightened up the gap. So this side right here, look at that. That is pretty. Other than right there, it needs to go back in a little bit. That gap is sweet. So what I've got to do is try to maintain my gaps everywhere while I'm trying to fix that little bit right there. You can see the little bit clip hanger. Trunk lid's out a little bit, and it's a little bit in over here, which bending can do a little bit. Like this right here. Look at how this is swollen right here. Well, you can't really see it. I don't think it's gonna, but there's a swollen spot right there. Quality control is not what it used to be. So we'll pull on one side and push in on the other and see if we can't straighten it out. Let me get you in here, Mama. I want to explain a little something to you. This hinge right here, you can see that it's slotted to go up and down. But it can also be tilted, like with us facing it right now, it can be tilted to the left or to the right. If you tilt that hinge to the left, which would take it to the driver, take it to the front of the car, that's gonna make your deck lid go towards this edge right here. If you tilt it to the right, then it's gonna make the deck lid come out farther to right here. So what I done is I raised it up and tilted it back some, so you can see it is really nice right there, and it looks good right there, and it's a little bit off right there. You can see the trunk lid's hanging over. All right, so what I can do is I can sacrifice some of my gap right here. That there is probably 3/16 to a quarter. I can sacrifice it some, and that will close up the gap right here. Or I can just take and manhandle that a little bit and bend it around and make it fit. All right, so let me get you back in here. Let me look at my clock. So I've got like an hour and 10 minutes in putting those on. Dylan helped me put the trunk lid on, and I've been talking out loud and, you know, changing the hinges around, not changing them around, but doing my adjustments. So let me show you where I'm at. This side right here is close, right in there. That is no problem. That can be ground and welded. I can add rod if I need to. This gap along this back panel looks good. So this piece right here, that should still be original to the car. So over here on this side, you can see that it's tight up there. Not tight. That's a good 3/16, but then back here we're at like a quarter of an inch. That quarter panel could be off, or the trunk lid could be a little bit out of square. But let me show you right here. That is pretty close to being perfect, and I have not took and bent on the trunk lid at all. So this side over here, the trunk lid is still a little bit out. So technically this could be bent down a little bit, and this could be bent out a little bit, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on getting this quarter cut, raised up, and out. So when I cut this loose, something could change right in here. You know, it's very possible. Or, like I said, this side right here, this piece may need to come over some. I don't know. I may have to cut it loose right there, and could possibly have to cut it loose back here. But all in all, for hours worth of work, I'm pretty happy at the way this is going to fit. And so now all I got to do is just cut that loose and see what we got. So let me get me some tools out. This door here, well, you can see how they put it on, and I was told the other day that my video might be degrading the other shop, and that is not my intent at all, because trust me, I don't do perfect work compared to some of the other shops. I'm just saying that all of this right here was left unfinished and undone. I mean, look at the other side. It's obvious that they knew how to do it right because they put the whole quarter on. What happened here, I don't know, but I'm not degrading them. I'm just thinking that, well, I really don't know what to think. I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody that had never put one on put this side on. It's hard to say. But I'm not degrading the other shop's work. I'm just saying, praise God that he sent me this work, because this is what I like to do, and it pays the bills at the same time. So let me get you in here. As you can see, it's cut loose. When it cut loose, you see how much of a gap, how much it moved on its own. So that quarter panel is, the tension of it is where it is. So back here at the back, I got to get it to break loose. I ground the welds down some, but I'm gonna take and drill me a 1/8 bit through their welds, and then take my little cutoff wheel, my little, you know what, sometimes I just can't think. I'll just show you. See right there how it cuts the outer skin and it leaves, it's gonna let it move. And then you can see it won't focus. But anyway, that piece that come out right there, it's inside this, and then all you gotta do is just flick it out like that. What I was going to do was use a step bit to open, and cut the weld, but my step bit was going to have to go all the way through and make both sides big. You can see I made those others a little bit big, but anyway, when I weld it back together, it'll be good. Alright, so as you can see, it's loose. It's actually loose all the way down. I know some of you's gonna say, what a mess. Well, I agree. But remember this, you have got to scramble eggs to make an omelet. So in order for me to get in here and try to fix this right, I've got to tear up what the other's done. See, I'm thinking by the time I beat that roll up, it's gonna be about right. So I wanted to give you an idea. Look at how much crown we've got there. Over here, technically, before it would have been pulled down to there, but by the time we go, I'm pretty sure by the time I beat that back up and hammer and dolly out that edge, we might be pretty close to being right there. That's the goal anyway. I'm gonna take and hammer and dolly this area here, that way I can put my corner back on. So this is kind of what we got going on here. So got the quarter panel extension back on. It's fitting good. I got the quarter pushed out to match it, as you can see. So if you'll notice, I can bring that in some. All I'd have to do would be to take this back off and, you know, push out and tack weld. What I would do is push out and tack weld here, and then, you know, work my way back up, get it to hold it, and then I could take and beat that area in, bend it around a little bit and get it, but still I'm off on my height. So on my height, you can see, and you can also see the gap, but that's child's play right there as far as hammering and dollying that back. That's absolutely nothing. That don't concern me. If I can't beat it back, I can always take this off, weld that seam with small beads of weld, grind it down smooth and make it fit perfecto. This right here, however, is a little bit different challenge. So I can do 3 different things that I can see right now. I could take the whole skin completely back off, loosen it all back up, cut all those welds loose, drill them out, and raise it up 3/16 of an inch. Or I can take my grinder and cut along here and raise it up, weld it in here, get my contour right, and then weld that seam back up. Well, that's a lot of work. Or I can take, I'm going to have to cut along right in here anyway to get that curve back up to match through here, because you can see if you look at through there at all the dings and beats and bangs. I'm thinking cut, get all this back up to fit, take and knock that over. I can always stack some welds up through there and build that corner back up with weld, grind it down, and you'd never know that anybody was even in here. So I'm not 100% sure, or I just have to think about this. The fourth thing, I could grind some of this aluminum down, and because I can get the seam back over to match. I'm not sure exactly which I'm going to do, but we'll see. This pocket right here, you know, he welded that pan in. It might not be exactly right, but the trunk lid is not bad. I mean, yeah, it's got a little bit of a squiggle, but it's not bad, and you can see that it's still off a little bit there, but I haven't like, I can always take my grinder and cut into there, and that will make this right here fold down. I'm not really so worried about that. It's just I got to get all this back up and right. So let me show you what I've done. In just a couple of minutes of work, I have been able to put a lot of shape back in it. So what I done is I took this dolly and went in on the back side. See it shining through, or maybe you can see it, but anyway. And then I took the hammer while I was holding the dolly with my left hand up against that seam. I hit right here with my hammer, and what that done was help curve it back up. You can see where, as far as I could reach, the see if I can zoom in. You see right there where it starts dropping down. I couldn't reach from inside the car, so I'll reach over. But you can see the curve is coming back to it slowly. If I were to cut right there, or yeah, I would need to cut, because you can see the top of my quarter is flush with my extension. So I would need to cut right here for this piece to come on through. It looks like we're gonna have enough of metal to do what I want. I'll have to get a measurement up here from the other side and see what my width is and what I'm supposed to be like. From what I'll do is I'll measure from the inside of here to over here on that driver's side and kind of get an idea. But I think we're gonna be good. I think we're gonna be able to clean up and use what we've got. Well, we kind of got to change the plans. We have opted out to just put a new quarter panel on it. That's gonna be better. By the time I fabricate to get that corner up, by the time I weld all the way down that center or all the way down that seam, hammer and dolly, I like to TIG weld my panels on if I have the chance, but then you got to go inside and clean up. And then on the back side of this, it's really bad. So called the client and he's just gonna get me a new quarter. So now let's get this one off. All right, Mama, here we are. Quarter panels off. This right here, I'm pretty sure on the new quarter panel that will come. I'll wait till he brings it before I cut all that out. But it is cleaned up and ready for the new quarter panel. So what I'm going to do until he comes is I'm going to work on some of this that needs grinding and cleaning up, because that's initially what he wanted when he hired us, was to just clean up everything, make it nice and neat, and weld up what's not welded, clean up what is welded. Stuff like that has got to be cleaned up and made to look nice. So y'all stay tuned. Look what showed up. Client dropped that off. He went to National Parts Depot this morning. Got me a brand new quarter panel. So I got to cut this out, all of this out, and I'm going to stay low right in here until I get it to where I can fit that other one up. See how far that I got to come in. All right, looks like it's about that time. Let's do this. All right, Mama, there you have it. Quarters old, been cut off, everything's been cleaned up. It's just temporary. Just, you know what I mean by temporary? By the time this is pushed in and welded and the trunk lid is tacked again, we'll be good to go, Mama.